Well, I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
What's going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Indie Breakdown, the show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an indie versus matchup. We have another amazing guest here. We're on episode 29, so there's only one more left. But we have an amazing guest today. I'm going to bring him to the stage, let him introduce himself. Very excited about this episode. What's going on, boss?
How you doing, man?
What's going on? What's going on? Let the people
Another
know.
cold day in South Texas.
You said cold South Texas. So now let the folks know who you are, the character that you're bringing to the breakdown, and of course the company that the character is with, of course. So
awesome. Rafael Madrigal, creator of Atreydean Justice and Assorted Justice Knights, that's put out through Star-Crossed Comics.
Outstanding. So
yeah.
Now, of course, I know a little bit about the boy Atreydean. I got that's clean. That's clean. I got the whole set from you. Hold on. Matter of fact, it's sitting right here. Is it sitting right here? Yes, it is. Here it is. Oh, I don't think I really ever have any of the books readily available when I'm interviewing folks. But like
nice.
I got. So if y'all haven't had a chance, definitely check out the series. He's definitely got the whole thing. Two different versions of two different covers for issue 1, but then there's also the one shot and of course issue 2. So when you guys have the chance, and there's a guidebook to learn more about the characters and stuff like that. So if you haven't had the chance to check it out, where can they pick it up at, bro?
Star-Crossed Comics, or DM me directly, and we'll get them to y'all somehow.
Okay, that's the way. So with all that being said, then tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind Atreydean before we dive into all the powers that he has.
So 39 years ago, I first discovered Superman comics, man. I was 12 years old, bought my first Superman comic at a local store here in Edinburgh, Texas. I was just blown away by it. Years later, it was my inspiration to actually become a cop. Literally, the only way to be a superhero in reality is law enforcement, soldier, firefighter, EMTs. And that was really my main inspiration, to go into law enforcement. Honestly, very honest truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's where the very start of the first Atreydean was start there, 39 years ago.
And so you kind of see that in that kind of first issue, right? Because of course our main character Rick is a police officer, right? So obviously we're pulling from personal life there and including that. What else can we kind of find from that's a little bit of you in that story? And again, I'm just very curious because of course we've been talking off and on for a little while, but very curious a little bit more of that origin story.
Lloyd, a lot, man. So when I first started writing this 20 some years ago, actually writing it, and I'm being very honest, I've told several people, several interviews, it saved my life. Every day you come from an ugly shift, because we get called out for when people need help, distress. You're not getting called out to, hey man, have a great day. You're going out for somebody's most chaotic time in their lives. And instead of dwelling in the drugs or the alcohol or sleeping pills to get that out of your mind, I would start writing, journaling, coming up with their powers, the whole story. So man, it really saved me from going, PTSD unfortunately is part of what we do.
Yeah.
And it saved me from really going nuts, honestly, man. Absolutely,
Wow. It's good that you found an outlet for that, because
it is. And so when I talk about Atreydean, it's very special to me. Every single creator has a reason for creating their comic book, right? We all do, right? I wanted him to be justice-based, hope-based, but over the last 15 years, I went more to the family, right?
Yeah.
So I had so much information that I couldn't put in the first 2 books, so Aaron Dowen helped me put it all together with the scripting as far as the script. And Joe Santos was my artist, right? 2 amazing guys, really phenomenal guys. But there was stuff lacking, and I found Vince White. Vince White helped me with the one shot. I scripted that one. I scripted it myself, the whole plot myself. There were the parts that were missing from issue 1 and 2.
Okay.
And it goes into things that that happen in my personal life with my son as an adult, kind of having his demons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And dealing with those demons, the chaos that we see in life. If you see the one shot of the little, when a little girl gets shot in that drive-by,
Mm-hmm.
there's something in my life that happened. I can't go into detail, but that happened to a child that that I
Yeah.
responded to, and it stays right here. It stays right here. You can't get rid of it. So it translates into my story,
Wow.
100%.
That's amazing. Yeah, again, that's being able to have that outlet, still be able to share these stories like that in a constructive manner, right? As well, so that you can again kind of get over what's been going on in the daily life and then be able to
Right.
kind of have that escape with the hero that you created. So with that being said, then I am curious. Let's talk powers. What is, at least let the people know, because obviously I read it, but let the
Right.
people know what is Atreydean's power set, and then we're gonna go stat for stat, we're going to start talking about the strength and all that other stuff. But what is the kind of grand scope? What is Atridian's power set? And
So
where
this
does he get
comes
the
from
powers
here. The sword of justice is, and remember, this universe is the embodiment of justice, right?
from? Mhm.
So it chooses Ultra Sword. Boom. He gets chosen by Dox, who winds up on Earth. By this time, the Sword of Justice is already sensing that Rick Miranda is a righteous person, man. This guy right away defended Dox, not knowing who Father Rio was. He just knew this guy was in distress
Mhm.
and did his due diligence as a cop. So it right away read him. It looked into his soul and knew that he was a good guy. So when
Mhm.
Dox was unfortunately, mortally wounded, transfers the power to Rick. Rick gets immense strength,
Mhm.
durability, extreme durability, healing factor, super speed, lightning quick reflexes. He gets magical cosmic lightning. And we'll explain that later why everything fits into place. The magical cosmic lightning that can be for defense, offense, and healing. He gets super intellect,
Mhm.
and several other powers, especially the blue fire of baptism. That's a special power that it really took me a long time to develop, man, to finally get that groove. So in the sword that I've explained it before, it's a sword, of course, for justice.
Mhm.
It also represents a cross for faith,
Mhm.
the scales of justice, and then you have the fire of baptism on the top.
Hmm.
So this is part of what took me 15 years to finally get this to where I wanted it, you
Hmm.
know. So we can go from there, you know.
Okay. So a little bit about that then, because of course the sword of justice isn't just the power per se that he pulls from, but it's also by itself an entire entity that's existed for
Yes,
millennia, right?
right.
Can you dive a little bit more into kind of how, not necessarily how it came into being, but how it disperses that power and how it kind of disperses that power in the kind of upper limits of that power?
Okay, so
And we don't want spoilers, of course. We want to make sure people
right.
read it.
That's
So as much
so
as you can divulge.
the sword of justice is right 400 billion years old.
Hmm.
The Big Bang happened. Uh, justice and light, chaos and death, darkness, right? Father evil, sword of justice in my universe, right?
Hmm.
There is still God. Remember, it's his justice. It's not God. God is his own. God is God. You know what I'm saying? He
Hmm.
is an entity among himself that created everything, right? So
Okay.
you'll see issue 3, it comes up a little bit about that. So, okay, divine force, divine evil, right?
Hmm.
Then the sword of justice developed itself into this sword. It took a creation of that's what it looks like. Later on, we'll explain it in the issues. It may take a human form, may. It's still I'm
Okay.
still and my story's complete. My story's completed to 8 issues, but there's still a little surprise coming at the end. But
Okay.
okay. So it divine force of justice, right? It is connected to all justice across every universe, multiverse, dimension, timeline, right?
Hmm.
It then chooses an Ultra Sword, which is its first knight. And that first guy is the first. We know him only as the first, a 4-armed alien from the first races of alien races. It is one of the oldest races, and they're known for their pure strength, but they're also known for nobility. they're good guys, right?
Okay.
It chose him as the first Ultra Sword. Later on the line, of course, he gets killed by Father Evil. And then that power gets transferred to another knight. So you're gonna have your Ultra Sword, you're gonna have your Alpha Knights, which are like the captains, and then you're gonna have your knights, your regular knights, a la Green Lantern, a la Nova Corps, a la Black Stars.
Yes.
And that's how it transcends. And it's been around for 400 billion years, so it's been all across the cosmos. So there were thousands of knights of different races and species and everything spread around the universe.
So I am curious then, and again, we'll dive into the powers and stuff like that.
Right.
I am curious. So with it existing in all those various kind of timelines and dimensions and stuff like that, hypothetically, are we talking about a near, an unfathomable amount of Ultra Swords that are out there potentially kind of across the multiverse, if you would?
So you're gonna have one Ultra Sword. One. He is the Ultra.
At any given moment,
there's only one, and then you're gonna have your alphas that he chooses, right? And then your knights, thousands of knights. So the knights are spread across the universe, helping, protecting, serving justice. Then his alpha knights are like the captains that are command of certain regions, and then you have Yalta. A la Nova Corps. You got Rider. Remember, the main Nova Prime, right? So it's a sword of justice. He has his Ultra Swords, which are combined. They are one, but it's still its own living entity, right? And he powers up the Ultra Sword, and then together they choose their Alpha Swords, and the Sword of Justice can choose the Knights.
Okay.
Or so can Atreydean. He can do the same thing.
Okay. So, and then of course in issue 1, we did get the opportunity to see that in action. He became the Ultra Sword, and then he shared the abilities or what have you
with his alphas.
With his alphas. Okay.
Right.
Now, are they then able to create the knights that are kind of under them, or no? Okay.
It'll be the SOJ, the Sword of Justice, or Atreydean can choose those knights. That's right. Issue 2, when he gets his general, the human general, right? That's when he can make that choice. And of course, they have to be righteous. They have to be righteous. Like we explained with Joe, the bear. The bear made some bad choices, but to protect his barrio, right? He's gonna protect, like Robin Hood. He's gonna protect his people. He might have broken the law, but Robin Hood did too. So the sword appeared to his soul and know that he was righteous in what he was doing. And then he can cleanse you with the fire baptism from your sin, and you become a knight.
Okay. So we'll start there because, of course, we'll talk about the strength and stuff proper, but does it work on more than just we know, for anybody that's watching, in case you don't know, one of the types of villains that Atreydean does face off against, so we've seen it in promo and stuff, so not necessarily a spoiler, but we see the Astral Wolves, right? So just to verify, right, this ability here, the blue fire baptism, affects more than just the apparitions of the Father Evil, right? More than just the Astral Wolves, but actually is cleansing the sins of those that he's up against.
Right. So, like, it has to be like I'm telling you. So, if you're a straight out killer and you went in and you killed 1,000 people, the Sword of Justice can appear to you and know you're pure evil. You are not going to get forgiven. You're so if you're a father who's out there and you lost your job and you happen to steal something to feed your family, you did the crime, but you're not doing it maliciously. You're doing it to survive.
There's remorse.
There has to be a little bit of that. There has to be kind of morality in what we do. So that and it can peer into your soul, right? This is the oldest form of primordial justice, and it's older than time. The human mind. So it's so powerful. It has to break it down for us, kind of like dumbify it for humans. And other stories that I've read in the past, they always want to say, "Oh man, the human mind goes crazy because it doesn't understand this power that it's getting." Right. But in reality, you got to think if you're an omnipotent force
Mm-hmm.
and you're coming into a backwater planet is primitive still, the mind it's easy to make them understand what you're doing. So when Atreydean got his powers at first, it hit him. He's absorbing it, and at the same time, his sword of justice is putting in all this information into his brain, and automatically he picks it up.
Okay. And I was wondering about that because it is a sort of wide variety of abilities and stuff, right? The fact that, obviously, again, we're talking about the blue fire baptism, but we also talk about the energy transferal, right? We do see a little bit of that. We mentioned it a second ago, right? And I was wondering about that. It's like, well, he just got it, and he already is just like, I know how to do this. But with the sword of justice, it is kind of taking into account. There's a lot of information here. There's a lot to take in.
Right. That is. The sword, it's part of him already, and it's breaking it down for him. So his mind is freaking out, but accepting what he's receiving from the sword of justice, and it has to be in the heart too. So in issue 1, his family's struggling. This guy is a deputy who carries the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's suffering through his wife, because his job's costing him time with his family. They're having problems. His son as an adult is making these bad choices because the father wasn't there sometimes, but because this guy's doing his job to the best of his ability to support his family. The son's girlfriend is suffering out because he's making these bad choices, you know what I'm saying? But she's trying to be the strong one for them. The son is struggling. Hey man, dad, why do I keep messing up? He's the first one that he cleanses with the fire baptism, tells him, hey, man, there is hope here. And if you want it, it's right here. Right?
I like
that. And he gives him that blue flame, and he takes it. And then the Ultra Sword can choose from a variety of powers from thousands of deceased knights and aliens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So remember, these knights are spread around the world, right? Universes, the cosmos, right? They're 400 billion years old. There's been thousands of them killed, right? Killed in battle. Some of their essence and their abilities from these planets, aliens, stays in the sword of justice. Okay. So that's how he chooses his alpha knights. He can pick powers from these different races and share them. The knight's gonna get strength, a little bit of strength, 100 tons, some durability. They're going to have shields, they're going to have lasers, and they're going to have the light of the shining light of fire to scare away astral wolves. That is the direct power. If you read the guidebook, that's the direct power. But if you're an alien species that has other kind of powers, you're enhanced 10 times.
Okay.
So that's why the first, strength. Their race is known for strength. Right. The second guy is Niz. They're living lightning. Their entire race is living lightning. They're powered by the bolt of justice. Of course, he's killed, and these powers keep transferring to the next Ultra Sword.
Okay.
And then the next Ultra Sword there's only been 5 of them in existence, right? The third one is Sky, who is a techno-based race of technology. She's then killed, right? So all her computer powers, we want to call them, are transferred to the next night. Okay. Right? Then you get Dox, the last one before trading his powers, who is a master of their master strategy. They're a peaceful race, but they can learn, and they have like an idyllic memory. And he's been training with thousands of races of different kinds of combat. They're like masters of combat, you want to say, or a super problem solvers. They're real smart. So when he gets killed, Atreydean gets that power. Okay. So he's got the superhuman strength of the first. Pretty much, they're known for strength. Then the lightning power of Niz, the technology-based power of Sky, and then Dox's idyllic memory for combat, strategy, problem solving, all transferred to this guy.
That's not bad. And when you said that there was only 5 prior to, or
Right.
5 total. Okay, 5
Right.
prior to,
4, right?
like,
4 him.
or 4 prior to. Excuse me, he's
Right.
the 5th one.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. Initially, I was like, oh, okay, so there's been dozens, if not hundreds, in the past.
No.
But with there only being now 5, they was doing their job for a while. They was actually
So
handling business for a
they're
while.
billions of years old. Right. Right.
Question.
Yeah.
No, that might be spoilers, so you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. But what came and killed them? Right? Or that's spoilers?
A lot of things can kill them.
Okay.
If when I developed Atreydean, I never wanted to make him unstoppable, bro.
Okay.
Nobody is unstoppable. You can't have an unstoppable hero.
That's true.
You can't have an unstoppable bad guy. Why create him then? If he's just
Right.
gonna, nobody can beat him. Everybody's got a way of getting out of getting killed, right?
Mhm.
Father Evil. This is all my comic books. Father Evil creates the bad guy. The bad guy in this,
Yeah.
Evil and Chaos, creates soul matter from himself. He's stealing all these souls, especially dark souls. Father Evil, that's what he does. That's where he sends these astral wolves across the cosmos looking for planets that are pure in souls.
Mhm.
Or life force, if you want to get, if you want to go to the
Yeah.
soul part for religious people, life force, right?
Mhm.
The more evil the person is, the better Father Evil loves it. So these astral wolves go on and they take these souls, right? Father Evil then gets powered up. When I created Father Evil, I didn't want him to be like Kryptonite. All of a sudden, Superman in the later years, Kryptonite's everywhere.
Right.
I couldn't stand that, right? I couldn't stand that.
Like,
Oh
where
my
did everybody get this from now?
Like, damn, like Jesus. Okay, so Father Evil can make dark matter swords, dark matter blades, dark matter bullets, but it cost him souls. So if he makes a knife, it's gonna drain him for decades.
Right.
So he's very cautious
Calculated
about how he makes his weapons against Atreydean.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
I like the level of strategy that the villain has to come up with to try to stop him, right? There
Right.
is a cost. There is, like, it's not just, all right, I'm here now and I have this MacGuffin. It's like, no, there's actual time, painstaking strategy that has to
well,
fall.
he has to be smart about the way he uses his dark matter soul stuff. It comes from him, and his son has it too. But his son has a different version of it. His son, which is Dark Kills, has a version that it doesn't kill you right away, but it starts taking over your body, and it's trying to make you. It's trying to get the sword of justice out of you and make you evil.
So like a corruption almost?
Kind of like that, So
Okay.
it affects you. It kills you slowly. Dark Kills version of it, because he's nasty. Dark Kills is he loves bars and he loves space bars and he loves to party and he has to torture people. He just has that in him. Where Father Evil wants to take over the universe, and be the ultimate,
So his son's his kid's kind of ambitions aren't on the same level, but he does love the perks of the job, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I'm telling you, and if Atreydean goes up against Soul, he goes against Acolyte, he goes up against any bad guy, you know what I'm saying? That's his level. He's gonna get hurt, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. He's got an extreme durability, and like we talked about, the Sword of Justice can then pull out energies of justice from other universes to enhance him even more, when he needs to. So he can't do it all the time either. You know what I'm saying?
So I didn't mean to interrupt you. No, you finished that thought. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Right. So like I didn't want it either to where, oh man, he can just drain or get energy anytime. He can, but he's got to be limited at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because the Sword of Justice can't affect other universes' justice.
Okay.
Think about that. So if it is connected to all these Captain America, who is that Earth is like, dude, you're talking about the justice, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
DC Superman, your planet Soul. I don't know if you guys were with Acolyte, Jupiter, man, all these guys, these heroes, it can take from these universes, but the idea of justice in universes can get affected as well. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
I
So
like that. So so because that was going to be my question. I was like, I feel like he's going to answer that. So because I was wondering, I'm like, what are the effects of pulling from justice? But from the sound of it, it kind of reminds me of when Goku's using the spirit bomb, right?
kind of
Like you
right,
can
right,
pull that energy, but
right,
don't do too much because it can
right,
be detrimental to the others that you're pulling that from.
right,
I like that. Okay. Okay. And so what now we're talking about the buffs and strength and stuff like that
right.
then. What are the kind of upper echelons of power that Rick can handle right now as a Atreydean from the Sword of Justice? Is he, and again, sake of conversation, right? We'll talk about since we're kind of on like the energies and stuff, if you would.
Right,
We do know he's got energy blast and stuff like that.
right.
How strong is that? Hypothetically, let's say it's a barren planet. He is going blow for blow against the master of evil, the father of evil, and he charges up a blast. Could he? And we'll talk base, just initial power, and then kind of like going all out, families in danger. We'll talk about both. So
Right.
base Atreydean, with the energy that he wields right now, is he destroying mountains? Is he destroying the entire planet? How strong is that kind of initial, as he is right now? How strong are those blasts?
Okay, so his cosmic energy, his
Hmm.
cosmic lightning, right now is planetary destruction.
Okay.
That's where it's at right now.
Okay.
Mountain, but if he needs to go into the power of Niz 100%, which is in
Hmm.
him, yeah, that Niz, remember, was their planet was the embodiment of lightning,
Right.
cosmic lightning. Remember their power comes from the bolt of justice, which
Hmm.
is kind of like the all storm from like Thor, the
Yes.
cosmic all storm,
Hmm.
that version of them, right? So they're
Okay.
connected to. So if he needs to dig in there, his lightning can destroy planets. Right now he hasn't got to that level yet, but he's
Okay.
there, right?
But if he really needs to do it, we got planetary,
That
kind of casual battle. We're talking mountain
mountains,
somewhere.
right? Yeah,
Okay, I like
right,
that. Okay, and then I know we kind of moved away from it, but the kind of blue flame of baptism, right?
right.
Does that doesn't do any external damage or anything of that? It's just kind of cleansing that sin, cleansing that evil from the opponent. Correct?
So he can cleanse, right?
Hmm.
And he can, like, let's say he's fighting I don't know, a bad guy, any kind of bad guy, and he's gonna try and cleanse him with the blue fire baptism, right?
Hmm.
It's gonna envelop the bad guy, and it's gonna challenge the bad guy to stop being bad. But it's not going to, because the bad guy's evil. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's gonna burn. It's gonna try and make him judge
Hmm.
himself. Because
Got
that's what
you.
he's doing. It's baptizing your sin, right? But if you're evil, you're
Mm,
evil. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But he can use it for that. It's not like the Human Torch where he can burn, cities and stuff like that, right?
Right.
It's
Okay.
more for hey man, you're asking for help, like in issue 2, like in the one shot when that one guy is possessed by the astral wolf, and
Mhm.
once it's out of him and he's guilty, it's gonna heal him from the
Yeah.
things he did as an astral wolf,
Mhm.
when he was possessed.
Right.
But you still have to pay for the crime. You still did crime. You
Right.
still have to pay justice here in America, buddy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You're cooked. You're done.
Right.
Pack it up.
Yeah, you're
So,
cooked. Yeah.
okay. So, all right. So that covers both of those. I am curious because I know. So, in case anybody that's watching, we've already done a breakdown on Atreydean. So we have a little extra kind of inside stuff that I'm asking questions about. This move that I'm mentioning isn't in the book, but it's something that has come up that will eventually come up. I want to know about Atreydean wielding the sword of justice proper. I know we talked about that in the group more so.
Right.
Can you dive a little bit more into that before we go back to the again base strength, flight speed, all that other stuff? What is that process like? Because again, he's getting the power from the sword, but the sword is also a separate entity.
Right.
Talk to me about him actually wielding the sword of justice and what that does to him as well.
So check this out, man. So it's gonna come out in later issues. It's
Okay.
not a secret. I've talked about it in the past. He has a one shot that he can do called a Blade of Justice. So it comes out in issue 1. If you see issue 1, when he's helping Docs fend off Father Evil, then you see a sword stabbing Father Evil. So the Ultra Sword can create the Blade of Justice in a one-time deal, either when he's losing, about to lose, or for a ultimate battle move to win, a one-time deal to kill its opponent. And it's pretty much the entire force of the Sword of Justice in one shot. I guess you want to call it a Mortal Kombat kill move.
Fatality, yeah.
Fatality, right? Kind of like that. So he's getting his, like, Dox is getting his butt kicked. Rick comes in, gives him time enough to, Father Evil engage Rick. That gives Dox enough time to reach out to his Blade of Justice, which is the Sword of Justice, and kill Father Evil. But remember, you can't kill evil. It is incarnate, you know what I'm saying? But you can kill his body, So they get that one move for either defensive to survive or as a kill shot for the ultimate bad guy.
Okay. And that's throughout their whole time as an Ultra Sword or one time in that battle?
As an Ultra Sword, you get that one time. The Sword of Justice gives you that one ability.
I see. Okay. And you know what? I like that even more now because it's not something that can be kind of spam.
Every time you fight,
right.
Every time you right.
Got you. It's hey, you do this now, you'll never wield that type of
one shot. It's I would say it's either for before you lose, like, hey man, your ultimate, you're going down, it's your last chance, or as an ultimate win over the ultimate evil.
I see. Okay.
So you have to be wise about when you use it.
That's the ultimate trump card right there. Obviously, it's supposed to be like use this on Father Evil, right? But
right.
Okay. This is neat. Okay, he has more in his arsenal than, like, obviously, again, we did the breakdown, we talked in the group, right? I've read the books, but having a better understanding of how the kind of separate moves work, right? Again, the cosmic lightning, the blue soul fire, right?
Laser vision.
Say again.
He's got laser vision too. Don't forget.
And the laser vision. Talk to us about the laser vision. What are the upper limits to that?
So for the Ultra Sword, they all have that. All the swords have laser vision. It is a blue laser. It's used to, he can either melt a tank or he can make a hole in your shirt.
Got you.
Ultimate control, and at the same time, he's got X-ray vision and night vision and telescopic vision.
Okay.
They get the hearing, they get the stuff, all that kind of stuff. That's natural for the Ultra Swords.
Okay, and then there was a sensing ability, right? If I'm not mistaken, where he's while on Earth at the very least can kind of sense out individuals that he's looking for, right?
Right. So that's part of the Sword of Justice. That's remember connected to the energies of justice, right? The idea of justice in every planet. You have to have it. You know what I'm saying? If you have good guys, justice is there. So he can track. He can track the good guys and know who the good guys from the bad guys are. And he can also sense evil because it is evil, and he can, here it comes, So that's one of the perks of having the Sword of Justice.
Okay, and then what's the range on that, right? So is that only kind of on Earth? While he's on Earth, if he goes into space, does it then kind of expand out, or is at all times he's kind of he can acknowledge the good and evil that's kind of out there in the cosmos?
So the Sword of Justice, since it's connected to the energies of justice of everything in these universes, it can sense disturbances in the force, not the force, but injustice. And I'm going to use that. I already have some scripts down with Ronnie Creates, All-Star, my buddy my buddy Nicholas Greer from Tin Soldier, and my one shot, and this is Authority, where the Sword of Justice can sense, hey, this is happening in this universe. Let's go help.
Okay, I like that.
So I have these scripts. These scripts are already done. They're done. I just need to get the money to print them out, baby.
Yeah. Okay. No, so yes, I like the connecting tissue there with I sense something going on, and being that there's only one Ultra Sword, Atreydean is the one that's going to answer the call every time. Okay. Okay.
And it's connected. So it's in my in the guidebook where it tells you
Yeah.
where the sword of justice can feel disturbances and can track and can. It is the omnic. It is justice. In my universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've had guys say, "Well, what happens if my universe doesn't want to accept it?" Okay, well, you're the creator of that universe. You can do what you want, buddy.
Right.
I
But
can't.
hypothetically, based on how it works, if
Right.
there is justice,
Right.
and
The idea of
the
justice.
idea of justice, and if he shows up there, does the idea of justice, it would now kind of perpetuate into that verse anyway, correct?
Right.
Okay, I'm with you.
That's you.
I'm with you. So let me ask this. We're gonna get down to the fighting ability. Now we're gonna talk about the strength, so on and so forth, right?
Right.
So, in regards to, let's talk about the fighting style, fighting skills, and stuff like that. Does he have now? Of course, obviously, of course, the energies that he's getting from the previous Ultra Soldier stuff like that.
Right.
Are there any other inherent, maybe fighting abilities, martial arts, or anything like that that he's able to pull from, or is he mostly pulling from his training as an officer? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Rick Miedana, the deputy, is a SWAT guy who's
Mhm.
got tactical training, Kyle McGraw, and Taekwondo. That's
Okay.
that's what he knows. That he trains as a deputy sheriff for the SWAT team, and that's what they teach him. Right.
Okay.
Now you have the sort of justice that's going to enhance that.
Mm-hmm.
That's kicked up a notch. And then you got the power of Docs that comes
Right.
into play. Docs is a master strategist, eidetic memory. He's been training with these other worlds for billions of years, and he's got all that combat.
Right.
And now Rick's got all
Right.
that combat. Right.
And so that, well, again, you've answered this technically, but it's just clicking that level of experience, right? Not just, oh, okay, that information's downloaded, right? Like I can do this now. There's an experience now to it to where he's not a rookie, right? He's not a
Right.
novice in these fighting styles. He's not a novice to combat. He's enhanced what he's already learned, enhanced what they know, and of course has the experience as if he's been doing it for years already.
You're
Okay.
spot on. You're spot
Okay.
on. That's why I want to explain that in the book and in the guidebook. I want people to understand. So he has his own training, but he's just enhanced a million times by Docs.
Mm-hmm.
Doc's experiences, soul is transferred to him. Some of it, not all of it, just some of it. You know what I'm saying? So, and he talks to Docs. You know what I'm saying? Docs talks to him. The last Ultra Sword will always help the new Ultra Sword,
Passing the knowledge on.
and the Sword of Justice as well. He can talk to both.
Okay.
And you're gonna see it in issue 3 the most. It's gonna that's issue 3. It's gonna be out soon. Explain
Oh, it'll be out soon?
Yeah, hopefully in April.
Okay. I wouldn't expect it to be that close. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move over to, I keep bringing up strength. Let's talk about the strength. Physical strength for Atreydean. Again, same question as the energy there. Base Atreydean, how strong is he? Absolutely. I've got it in this fight now. I want both of those. Talk to me. How strong
Okay.
is he?
So in all of DC Comics, Marvel, you always hear, man, Superman has 100 tons, Thor's 100 tons. I put his actual strength as of right now, which is mountain level. You see him lifting an old tanker, a full old tanker weighs over 500,000 tons.
Right.
And he's lifting that. He's pulling the aircraft carrier. He's holding up an airplane. So right now, his strength is mountain towards planetary strength, without diving into the first. The first is a being of pure strength. Remember, the whole entire race was that, and he can pretty much get that. Then he's gonna get planetary strength for sure. You know what I'm saying?
And above at this point.
Right.
Okay.
So he can dive into that strength without even going into the Sword of Justice, reaching out to other universes to pull more power to help him. But his base level mountain, a stronger mountain, going towards planetary, and then when he reaches into the first planetary, right off the back, he can move a planet. He can bust a planet in half. I want to keep his strength like that. I don't like hearing Gladiator can lift 250 tons. Man, Gladiator can move a planet. You know,
Right.
Superman can move planets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's where he's at right now.
Okay, I like that. So let's talk about speed. We're going to talk about how fast is he flying, and then also I want to know about his perception, right? And we'll start there since that's the last thing there. Perception wise, right? If somebody and I use this example often, right? We interviewed Jamal Dabney. He has a character Black Bow, right? And Black Bow was able to not only see that he was at a protest or what have you, he's looking down, he sees a shooting about to happen. He sees the bullet as it's launching out towards somebody. He sees it, but not only does he see it, he is able to run down there. And he was at a decent vantage point, right? He's able to run fast enough to get in the way of it and then block it accurately, right? So I want to
Nice.
know both, right? Again, that perception. Is Atreydean able to see that bullet as it's kind of flying out or anything faster than that? And then how fast is he able to react to that from there?
Right. So and I've talked this from the very beginning about him. He has the reflexes of Doc's, right?
Mm-hmm.
The speed of also Nism, which is the lightning based beam, which are lightning fast reflexes, right?
Literally lightning fast reflex.
Right. So he
Okay.
has speed, light of speed, reaction time, reflexes. I don't know if you saw in the one shot he got from New York to Tokyo in like 2 seconds.
That's heavy.
That's why I wanted people to see that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He went from boom to, and he's even questioning himself, like, how fast was I going? Holy moly, you know what I'm saying? And then you see him getting everybody out the building real quick, So I'm not gonna say anywhere close to Flash.
Okay.
Of course, I would never do that, because I don't want to make him. I don't want to make him unstoppable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's got that natural speed. But then again, we go to the Sword of Justice, who can pull energy and maybe give him Flash speed. You know what I'm saying? But I don't like getting technical like that. He could have wanted to. Remember, it's connected to all these millions of universes.
Right.
So if he needed to enhance his speed, and he's got he's already got interdimensional speed because they fly in space without spaceships if they have to. So they already have that. All the Alpha swords and Ultra swords have interstellar speed, light speed.
And so, all right. So now next up, and I think this would be the last one officially. I want to know the durability now, right? How hard can he be hit and back? And I guess it still stands, right? We're talking kind of base. The battle was just started. He gets hit unexpectedly. I want to know that. But then also, hey, this guy's hitting hard. I got to be careful. What is that kind of range for Atreydean?
Okay, so first of all, he's got the extreme durability, right, and heating factor. But you're not going to surprise him because he has the senses. Unless you're super fast, like Superman fast, where now it's kind of the same speed, but otherwise he's going to see it coming. But if he gets hit, it's going to have to be from Soul, Acolyte. You know what I'm saying? Strength at that level, planetary level. That he's gonna feel. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna hurt him. Like I'm saying, he's not indestructible. So if you got two guys at the same strength levels, they're gonna hurt each other no matter what. You have to. I don't understand why they wouldn't get hurt. You know what I'm saying? There's a guy who can crush a mountain, and he's shooting you at light speed, 150,000 times. You know what I'm saying?
That's gonna pile on. So. With that high durability, let's talk about the healing factor really quick.
Right.
How effective is it? Are we talking Wolverine levels where, okay, he's still got to, let's say he gets his arm chopped up, he's still got to go grab that same arm? Or another, adversely, we talk about like Deadpool where it's just like, yeah, that got chopped off, but a whole new one is showing up. What kind of levels of a healing factor is Atreydean working with?
Cosmic level. So if you read issue 1, he gets grazed by one of the soul bullets. And at first he's like, whoa, hey, it's never happened, But at that time, he doesn't know what the soul bullets are yet until the sword tells him, okay, this is what you're going to expect from Father Evil. But he heals it. He heals it with the fire baptism and his heating factor, heating power from the lightning. Remember that the cosmic lightning that Nism has can be offensive, defensive, or heating powers.
Okay, I like that. And you know, I was gonna ask about the bullet because I was just like, he got grazed. You know, again, like the fourth panel of the first page was just
Right.
like,
It's
what
a
kind of
dark
weapon was
soul
being
bullet.
used? But okay,
Dark
you know,
soul bullet.
I was wondering why there was kind of that black kind of like almost smoky kind of situation
Right.
emanating from it. Okay, so this was like what we talked about earlier with Father Evil, then with the specific type of means of trying
When he uses it, you know, like I'm telling you with the kryptonite, I didn't want to have it where he can make tons of it. Now we got millions of bullets. You know, might as well just create a 50 caliber and just take them out. You know what I'm saying? So he it's hard for him. He can make them, but it'll cost him decades of recovery for a bullet.
Okay, and so that's why it's like, hey, I done lost the docs. I done used this bullet.
Right.
Let me step back for a little while, and then
I need more souls. I need more souls. And if you read some of his power, which I love, the being of strength, his planet was one of the first created, right? Beings of pure strength. Well, he gets Cancer, his concubine, who's a temptress of love, to make everybody on that planet kill themselves for her.
Oh wow!
What does that do? Give Father Evil all the souls of nearly indestructible and immeasurable strength through each one of these millions of people on there. And the last one is the first. He's able to escape, and then the Sword of Justice brings him in and makes him their Ultra Sword. And it takes a million of years to try and get revenge, to try and fight Father Evil, but he winds up getting killed by Father Evil.
Yeah. That's heavy. I like this. Okay. So
you're talking 29, you're talking 39 years of, oh my God, just writing.
Look, I am excited for you on this journey, man. Like, this is not everybody can say that they had an idea, not even something tangible initially, right? Just the idea, and you put it to paper, got it drawn out, colored, all that stuff, and it went to print, and people are holding something that you've been working on for decades, man. It's powerful, man. Not everybody can say that, and it's so powerful to actually continue to see that, and it's refreshing to see that people are able to continue to use their imagination, their life stories, and stuff to inspire others. So no, I'm proud of you on this journey, man. Absolutely,
man. You know what, Lloyd? There's no better feeling. I've had several people DM me, call me, send me voice messages saying, "Hey, man, I can relate to this guy, man. I can relate to this guy." I wanted this story to be relatable to anybody out there that's going through things in their families, man. We all have money problems, marital problems, demons in our, skeletons in our closets, everything we go through in life. And I want this story to understand, hey, man, you can make it. You can make it, and that's where this story is so important to me. And I want somebody out there that this guy's like, Ralph, man, that's awesome. I can relate to that. My brother got into some trouble, it's like, boom. It's just a matter of how fast we get up after we fall down,
As long as you get back up.
That's it, man. That's it. And love creating. I'm going to talk about you guys, man. Ever since I discovered, Indie Breakdown months back, it's been blossoming, man. And I'm happy to be one of your top contributors because I love it. I love, the Sword of Justice. It's part of Ronnie Creates, Radical Comics, man. Awesome kid, man. Awesome kid. My buddy Nicholas Gear, Tin Soldier, we got an 8-page story. In the Atreydean story, I already have a story scripted out where it's going to connect Starstruck, Red Talon, Alpha Red, Jupiter Man, the Eternal, and Ronnie and All Star. That's going to lead to the Henosis Authority.
Oh, a whole separate. Okay.
And also to the Atreydean story. These guys are gonna help him. It's called the Union of Justice. Atreydean Sword of Justice Knights, the Union of Justice. They unite. The Sword of Justice connects all these guys because Atreydean's gonna need help. It leads to his series, and him, boom, it's gonna lead straight to the Henosis Authority. I mean, dude, Hell's Authority is
It's gonna be crazy. The images that y'all have showcased already for that, and the villains and stuff that y'all have shown is just like, yo, this is going to be intense. I think I saw Malcolm is in there too, right? He has his character
yes,
in there as well. 615
awesome.
coming.
He's awesome. All these
Yeah.
guys are Dre, Berkeley,
Mm-hmm.
Trey, Malcolm, Jesus, Daryl, Jamal. There's 9 creators. There was 10.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we lost Ronnie Creates, but he'll be here hopefully the next one.
Mm-hmm.
But 9 guys. Justin started this, the Hope Breaker, Spit Nation,
Spit Nation, yep.
Reached out because of Indie Breakdown. We started the Power Nights.
Yes,
brands.
yes. Y'all was wreaking havoc as the Power Nights, boy. Yeah.
It was like boom, and then it transcended into the Henosis Authority. This thing is amazing, man. I love this whole idea. It still gets to me sometimes how it's uniting everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to unite more people. I want to get in with Soul. I want to get in with Acolyte. I want to get in with everybody. Just wish I had the Quan, baby.
Look, all that's coming down the pipe, I'm sure. Again, and the way, well, first off, I got to thank you as well, because every time we hit a new welcome post or welcome to the new members post, you're always first, just about like this is the group. Welcome everybody, right?
It's awesome, man. I love how we meet people. You know what I'm saying? That is so. I remember I started this like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to, real quick. I wanted to do this. I'm sorry, we got a lot of time, but I wanted to do this when I retired. Right. My plan was to write this whole story, retire, pull out some money, and do it all. Right.
Yeah.
We get things happen in our lives. You know what I'm saying? Life can be taken like that, man.
Yeah.
So things happened in my life years back, 2 years ago, that affected my entire family. And I told my wife, babe, I need to do this. I have this story that I want to put out to the world. And my beautiful wife backed me up, man. She's like, do it. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey.
And here we are 2 years later, baby. It's like, I'm in. It is awesome.
Look. It is awesome. So speaking of that, right, as we're getting ready to come to a close, then let the people know where they can find you, how they can support you, and when they can expect. Well, I mean, you already did say when we can expect it, but just reiterate in case they missed it initially, what they could expect coming soon from Atreydean and yourself.
All right, so Atreydean Justice, Starcross Comics. You can DM me directly. Hopefully, issue 3 will be out. I'm hoping to shoot out in April on Kickstarter. And we got more things coming in with Ronnie Creates, with Manipulous Gear, with Henosis Authority. Things are coming in, guys, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a ride. And
then give them your social media as well.
Facebook, Atreydean Justice, or Ralph Madrigal. TikTok, Atreydean. X, Atreydean. Lemonade, Atreydean. And you'll find me on there. Instagram as well.
Outstanding. Raphael, thank you. This was amazing. This was long overdue, right? Because again, it's been some months.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
For sure. Our pleasure, man. And so there's one more episode, and then season 3 of Indie Breakdown is done. What you can look to expect coming soon. And again, this is a reiteration to anybody that's listening right now. Of course, every season we do 10 episodes. Then at the end of the season, following the final interview, we bring all 10 back, and we have what we call a creator clash, where we showcase all of the breakdowns for everybody and allow them to challenge each other and discuss how they would beat each other's characters, some little friendly banter. And then at the end of that show, we roll a randomizer wheel. And that randomizer wheel will determine the actual indie versus matchup of the season. That's when that matchup happens, and then me and Tasha write out I'll write it, and she'll narrate the matchup and our verdict on who we think would win based on the interview that we're doing here, the breakdown that we've made, and the conversations that take place in the creator clash. Of course, also, in case anybody that's listening doesn't know, we do have a website, indiebreakdown.com. We have a database of these characters, or at least some of the characters. Not everybody that's been interviewed is in the database, but Atreydean is in the database. So if Atreydean's in the matchup, right, we will also cross-reference with the database, because all the information that's on the database have been provided by the creators themselves. So if you guys want to see how that turned out in previous seasons, that is available at indiebreakdown.com as well. where in season 1 we had Delta Dogs versus Black Bow. In season 2, we had Avora Lee versus Jupiter Man. So again, if you guys want to check out how that turned out, head over to indiebreakdown.com. And as we close out, of course, I'm Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics. This has been another amazing episode of the Indie Breakdown. Be sure to tune in next time because, again, we're going to have another amazing guest then. Visit indiebreakdown.com once more. And, of course, shameless plug as well, don't forget to visit midnightcomics.org where you could go ahead and get a free copy of Soul by joining our mailing list. So with all that being said, once more, thank you for coming on, and thank you all for watching. And remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Stay safe.
Bitch, I'm proud.